Hey everyone, welcome back. Now that I am car camping in the RAV, I have been taking my AC-180 Bluetti battery bank into the RAV to run my fridge and everything like that. And that sucker is big and it's heavy. And so now that I've started car camping, Bluetti asked if I would like to review the one of their newer batteries, which is the Elite 100. It's an 1800 watt power bank with 1,024 watt hours. Now, I'm just going to preface this by saying I'm not a techie at all. And there are so many YouTube channels and videos out there by people who are technical that will give you the specs and the breakdown of all sorts of things, including the Bluetti products. I'm not that. And I think that maybe it's nice to have somebody talk about something who's not a techie, because a lot of us aren't. And when I watch those videos, it's interesting, but I get kind of lost. So the important thing is that this smaller battery, much smaller and importantly, much lighter battery, is now what I can take when I'm camping in the RAV. And it will fit in the footwell of the passenger seat a lot easier and leave a lot more room for other things, and allow me to push that seat forward quite a bit. Oh, got a cat here. Wow, Sophie is here in spirit. Cat hair. Anyways, so they sent me this, but they also sent me something else very interesting. They sent me their new Charger 1 unit. Now, what is the Charger 1? It is a DC to DC charger, a direct current to direct current charger. Now, when you get any battery bank, any power station, you will get the cord to plug into a regular household socket, AC socket, but you will also get, usually, a cord that will allow you to plug into the 12-volt outlet socket in your vehicle. Cigarette lighter, for those of us of that age, that round socket. And this one, the DC socket, the little circle. And now you can charge a battery, a power station that way, but it's going to be very slow because it's charging from that small port. A DC to DC charger, which basically attaches to the battery of your vehicle, and when your battery is running and the alternator is running, hope I got that right, it now directs current through this into the car, and you can plug your battery bank, your power station, into this. So basically it makes your car engine, your vehicle engine, like a generator to charge your battery banks, your power station. Oh my God, where is that cat hair? And the important thing is it charges about 6 times faster than plugging it into that 12-volt outlet in your car. So if you can't plug your power station into a wall socket and charge it up super fast that way, this now gives us an option to keep our battery, our power stations charged while we're driving very quickly. Now I have purposefully depleted this. So you can see it's at 0 power. And that was on purpose, because what I wanted to do was install this today. Well, finish the installation of this today, and I'll explain it in a bit. And then I have to do some errands, go to Campbell River to get some groceries there and back. And I'm curious to see how much this charges this while I'm just driving around. It does come with, I took the screws and everything out of their bag and put it in this. It does come with these self-tapping screws, so you can screw it directly to the wall of your vehicle or wherever you're installing it, and a little mounting bracket. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to mount it permanently. So I'm going to, for today, I'm not going to mount it at all. I'm just going to set it down. But for once I have more time, because I'm kind of rushed today, because I'm going to Calgary for a work trip tomorrow. But when I do take it out for the first time, I'm going to zip tie it. I haven't decided exactly where I want it, and I'm probably not going to be camping in the RAV forever, and so why mount this permanently? Make sense? Not that it's permanent. You can always take it off. Now I'm going to show you some footage of when I unboxed this, so you can see everything that it comes with, and then we'll come back and I will explain the steps that I've already done, and then what we're going to do today. So the big cable is already in the RAV. I was going to install it myself. I did see multiple videos of installing the Charger 1 in vehicles, including in Toyota RAVs. However, my RAV is a 2018, and in order to get to, it has little, I don't know what you'd call them, little ports from the inside of the vehicle, the footwells, through the firewall, because there's always a firewall between your engine of your vehicle and the inside of your vehicle for obvious reasons. There are usually, always I would say, little ports that cables go through. And you can use those to feed the cable from when you've connected the heavy cable to your battery into your vehicle to then connect to this. So then you can connect this to this or attach it. But in the 2018 RAVs, in order to get to that port, the port on the passenger side is behind a bunch of machinery, mechanics, that's the right word, and like I can't get to it. The port on the driver's side I could see, but in order to get to it, just because of where it is, you have to take off the windshield wiper assembly. It has to come out off and be moved out of the way in order to access that. And that wasn't something that I wanted to take on. So I went to my mechanic and asked him to do it. And so I'm going to insert some footage of when he showed me what he had done. And then he makes a very good point that I think is important to remember. So let's watch that.
Anyways, battery connections as you required. And then coming over here at the base here, it's important that you put a loop in the bottom here, because any water that trickles through here, you want it to drip off of there. Otherwise, it'll channel and go right into the interior of the car. So anytime you run wiring through a firewall, you got to put a loop in it before you put it through the hole.
I would never have thought of that.
Most people don't. Anybody that puts those CB radio antennas on, interior water leaks all the time.
Oh,
yep. So it's a culprit. So anyways, everything's tied in there. Everything's attached the way that you asked me to do it.
Thank you.
And it's all in there neat and tidy. And then up here in the interior, it's just placed on the floor there.
Good.
So my recommendation to you, maybe watch some YouTube videos on how these panels come out. They're really, really easy coming out, and just run it down the side of the car. There's another wire loom that's in there. And just
that's exactly what I've already looked at one, and I'm gonna try and find one for a RAV.
Yeah, these things pop off like nothing. They're really easy. You just kind of reach in behind and give it a good tug. Don't do it when the plastics are cold, because things break. That's it. I had to slide your seat back for me to get under the dash, just so you know. So, anyway, so it'll take me a few minutes to get the wiper cowl back in there, and we're done. Thank you. So as you can see, that big heavy cable is the cable that the current runs through from your battery into the inside your car. And he made a very good point when he pointed out that he had done sort of a little elbow, a little loop down, so that before it went through the firewall, so that if it rains heavily, which it does here on Vancouver Island, water's going to get into your engine bay or even splash up into your engine bay. And if you just run that cord directly down into that, water's going to follow that cord and is going to potentially, and he said he has seen it, water's going to get into the inside of your vehicle, into the footwell of your car, and you're going to wonder why is that. So you can see that he was very tidy about zip tying it along. It's out of the way. It's nice and secure. And now I don't have to worry about water getting in. The other set of like little cord it comes with is this one, and this is the these are the connectors that would connect to your solar panel. And I can't remember what these are called. They're the typical connector ends for solar panels, and these are the ends that go into the output side of the charger one. So if you see on this side, it says input, negative and positive, and then on this side, it's got output, negative and positive. And this is the output cable. Now, when I looked at my battery, of course, it doesn't have a place for these to connect. It's got this that you would plug the other end to, right? You plug these into your solar panel, then that cord would come in and it would plug in here. And I was like, well, they didn't include one of those. And then I realized that when you get your power station, you get your regular plug that you plug into the wall socket, your AC plug, but you also get this plug, and that is the connector that goes in here. Well, the first thing we're going to do inside is connect this output cable to the charger one output side. There's little screws in there that are meant to hold these in, and they're tight right now. So we need to loosen those before we can feed those in. And there's a little rubber gasket that you open up, and the screws are down there. You just want them up high enough that you can fit that in. So now they're up. I think they're up enough. I should put my glasses on. What are my glasses? Here they are. Much better. And one of the reasons you do want to mount this or even zip tie it on is you don't want this jiggling around and these coming loose. But you can see those are in there nice and tight. And now we're ready to go into the vehicle and connect the input side, the side that's of the heavy cable that's gone through the wall, and we'll have a look at that. One thing important to note is that that cable comes with a breaker switch, which is good. It protects you and it protects the battery, the power station from a surge, and you want to make sure that that breaker is off before you start installing the input wires, because it's live, right? It's attached to your battery. So make sure you don't touch those cable ends together. Make sure that you have that breaker off, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's off. We'll go out there. I'm going to grab some zip ties. We'll go out there and we will get it installed. Another thing I should mention is that there is an app that you can download that you can, so that you can set the charging rate for this, because you can use this with other power stations. It doesn't have to be a Bluetti, but obviously you have to know how much input your power station takes, and so you can set that with the app and you can control it through your phone. I don't do the apps. I'm not that technical. One of these days, maybe I'll try and figure it out. But right now, I don't do the apps. I just do the manual. Press some buttons, get it to work. But yes, just note that you can use this with all sorts of different power stations. You just have to make sure that you are charging at the appropriate rate. So first thing, let's just have another look at what's going on in here. So you can't see it now because, like I said, this had to be removed in order to install. But you can sort of see where the cable goes back there. Sorry, the cable goes back there. So here is the cables that have been attached to the battery. We've got the positive, we've got the negative. He has zip tied everything, made it nice and tight, and brought it around, kept it nice and secure. You can see that he secured it there. And it's fed all the way through and down there and into the through the firewall and into the cab of the vehicle. So this wasn't something that I was gonna mess with taking off and putting back on. I figured leave that to a professional. So it did cost me a little bit to get that done, not much, You might have a vehicle where you don't need to have somebody do that for you. And if you do, then you save even more money. You can't really see very well, but it comes in through the firewall. And he's just, when I picked up my vehicle from the shop, he just had it laying here. And I have sort of run it along here and put it into the back seat for the last couple of days. Oh, I really got to get a vacuum in here. But now our goal is to get this connected to that. And let's just do that. Now here's the very, very, very important thing that you need to do. You need to make sure, I should point out that the Charger 1 does not necessarily come with this heavy duty cable that connects to the batteries, but you can buy the kit, and they sent me the kit, and it certainly makes sense to get it this way. And this cable from them comes with a breaker. That is on, this is off. And you can see it says off there, maybe you can't. You want to make sure this is off because your cable is connected to the battery. And so we don't want to mess with that. You also want to be wearing eye protection and gloves just in case. All right, so now we have connected our in. We need to connect, or sorry, we've connected our out. We need to connect our in. I'm going to connect the black first, which is the negative. See, it says bat negative, which means it goes to the negative input here. I don't think I've got that down far enough, so let's loosen that a bit more. Again, you just stick your little Allen wrench in there and unscrew that. It does come with extra of these screws, along with the self-tapping screws for mounting it to the wall. Okay, have I got it in there far enough? Yes. Okay, so now that I've got the negative terminal or wire in there, I'm going to screw that down. Get in there. Again, you want it in there nice and secure. Give it a nice little tighten. Don't go crazy. You want to be able to get it out if you ever need to move this. So now I have the negative attached. Double check that that's off. It just makes me a little nervous. And now we're going to attach the positive end. I think I should loosen this one up a bit more, or did I? I think I did. Okay, let's put the positive in. The positive is in. Oops. And let's connect that. Just make sure these are nice and secure, and they are, and we're good. Now that we've connected everything, we still have our breaker as on off. When I switch this to on, it will now be connected to the battery, and we should see that green light come on. There. So that means now we can connect our battery to this. But before we do that, we're going to sort of get this in the back seat here into the back row. Now the RAV in most vehicles have this little sort of casing here along the door. And apparently you can just lift this up. Woo, look at that. And you can feed cables through there because there is already a cable through there. So let's see if I can do that. I don't know how I'm gonna get that. I guess I gotta get it under here first, and then I don't know, in here. Oh yeah, okay. Let's just put this cable in here along with the existing cable until it gets through to the back. And let's see if I can put that sucker back on. Okay. Now I've got it at least protected from me getting in and out. Obviously it's still exposed there, but that's okay, because now we got to figure out where we're putting it in the back. So now we have, whoopsie, we have this cable here, and I think I would just want to hang it off of the back of this for now, with the zip ties that I brought in. Where are they? These ones. I'm going to get some black ones. I have black ones somewhere, cannot find them. Isn't that typical? So in the meantime, let's get that sort of just mounted there, and then we can plug in the cables. Change plans. I decided to just put it behind the driver's seat for now. I'm going to figure out a place for it either down here or down there, but I didn't like it sort of hanging all sorts of visible up there. So we're just going to leave it here for now, because again, this is just a temporary setting just for us to see how things look and how they work for our test. Okay, let's start the car and see what happens. Seems to be staying around 219 watts, 218, 219 watts input. I wonder if I could change that if I use the app. I know that that's faster than the cigarette lighter port, but I expected it to be higher than that. We'll see. So it was charging at 218, 219 watts. And if I look at the back of it, I don't know how many volts that is. I don't know. But that was the default setting. Oh, I gotta do something with my hair. So I would guess it would take about 2.5 hours to fully charge that. I don't know if there's a way to charge it faster via the app. Change the settings. Should not be looking at myself. Sorry, squirrel. Anyways, or squirrely. It's a couple of days, well, to be honest with you, it's a couple of weeks later because I was sick. Watch the last video to get the details on that. Anyways, I have finally uploaded, well, I had already uploaded the Bluetti app, so I could choose the Elite 100 V2 and the Charger 1, so have them all connected. And what I was able to do once I had that set up was go into the Charger 1 settings and actually choose my device. So all of the Bluetti devices are in there, and so you can choose whatever battery bank you're charging, and it will automatically set it for the appropriate charging wattage, I think. Now this is set up properly, and I am going to charge it while I'm driving and see if it charges better now that I've actually set it up with the app, because it was charging, but I don't think it was charging at the speed that it could charge. So that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to plug it in. I'm going to run and get my errands done, and we will just look to see what it's charging at. All right, so I've got my car on, the Charger 1 is on. I'm just going to plug this in, and we're just going to see what happens here for input. I'm hoping that it is faster than the first time round, but we will see. This is not the best angle, but you can already see that the input is 547 watts. Well, it varies a bit, but you can already see that it is definitely at a higher wattage input than it was without using the app and actually setting it for the device. Now, if you're using a battery bank, a portable power station that is not a Bluetti, then obviously you're going to have to check the settings on the label to find out what the maximum wattage of input is for your battery bank and set that excuse me, manually. But if you have a Bluetti power station, then you'll be able to find it on that app and set it appropriately. So what do I think of the Bluetti Charger 1 and this Elite 100? I think it's awesome. I love that the Elite 100 is smaller and lighter than the 180 and the 2000 that I have, which means that it is going to be powerful enough because it is an 1800 watt power bank with a 1024 watt hour capacity. And I love that that will run my fridge when I'm camping and traveling, and everything else that I need without taking up nearly as much space and being as heavy, which is going to be awesome. Love having the Charger 1. It was a bit of a effort to get it set up because, again, I couldn't install it myself on the RAV. I mean, certainly if you are more mechanical than I am, you'd be able to install it. If you're technical and brave enough to want to remove the windshield wiper assembly and get it installed, then you can do it yourself. Other models of SUVs, other years of the RAV for that's not required, but for mine, for my 2018 RAV4, that's what was required. So I had that done professionally. Why? Because I don't want to mess with that. And I wanted to know that it was done properly, that it was hooked up to the battery properly, and that my windshield wipers would work after I set everything up. So now that that's set up, I can charge while I'm driving, and I can charge fast. I think they say up to 6 times faster than plugging it into the cigarette lighter input in your car. I think that's the 12 volt. So that's going to be fantastic when I'm traveling. And if there's a power outage and I need to charge my battery banks and there's not solar to do it, I can take my battery, any of my batteries in my car when I'm out doing errands, or just into my car and run it for an hour and recharge my battery, which is awesome for people who don't have generators. All transparency, Bluetti did send me these two things, the Charger 1 and this Elite 100 version 2 power station. I am very grateful for that. They didn't tell me what to say, they just asked me to review it. But as you know, if you've watched my channel for a while, I love Bluetti products. They are incredibly reliable. When I charge my battery banks up to 100% after I've needed them, I can go back to them. They'll still be at 100%. I never have to worry about them having lost charge while they were sitting, waiting to be used again, which is incredible peace of mind. So if you're interested in the Charger 1, if you're interested in the Elite 100, I will put a link in the show notes below the video. They have given me a discount code for any of you who want to buy it. I don't get a kickback or anything like that, but they've generously given me a discount code for you. So go check them out, do your research. As I always say, it's important to be prepared for whatever happens, and having backup battery, backup power is very important for us so that we can take care of ourselves when the municipal systems go down. So anyways, guys, oh, I was going to say there's 2 puppies on the road, but they're with the horses. Sorry about that. My neighbor does trail rides, and she was taking some guests out on the horses. So we had to stop and let them all cross the road. Anyways, guys, I hope you found that interesting. I know that I am not the most technical person, but I actually think that that's a good thing, because the majority of us aren't techies and this isn't our jam. We just want reliable products. We want reliable backup systems so that we can take care of ourselves. And so if I can use it, you guys certainly can. You saw what was involved in it, so I hope you find that interesting. Anyways, I am feeling much better. For those of you who have left me wonderful comments, thank you so much. I am at the tail end of the plague and I'm feeling much better. Just a lingering cough every once in a while, but that's okay. Sometimes we need to be reminded to take better care of ourselves, which I will going forward. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you are staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, including to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you next time.